Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. This video is called Recognizing Your Boaz Before You End Up with Your Yoaz. Now, I don't know what's in this video because I've tried to do it Facebook Live. It was horrible quality. I tried to record it on my personal recorder. It wouldn't upload. So now here I'm back again for a third time trying to do it, and we're going to see how this goes. This video is based on Ruth and Boaz, as you can tell. Well, it actually was inspired by a prophetess friend of mine, and she and I were talking about what it is that Christian women look for, or are they recognizing their Boaz? And then I made the comment, well, if you don't recognize your Boaz, then you're going to end up with your Yoaz. And I said to her, I said, so many are chasing bishops, apostles, prophets, evangelists, Bible teachers, worship leaders, especially in the Christian community, because you know the anointings is attractive. So they chasing these things, these titles of men, and what they're not really actually recognizing is that this man can be a Yoaz. He's not necessarily your Boaz. So it's how to recognize your Boaz in spite of if he's not the way you have your preconceived notions or your checklist. Now, I'm not saying lower your standards, because I will never be a woman to say that. But what I am saying is, what if he's not in the ministry that way? What if he's not effective or activated in ministry that way, and you're about to miss it? Well, the background story about Ruth and Boaz is that Ruth was the daughter-in-law of Naomi. Naomi was the wife of a young man who ended up dying, had 2 sons with this young man. Her 2 sons ended up dying as well. They were married to foreign women, and Naomi and the foreign women ended up being widowers. Well, there comes a times in life when transition happens, things happen, death comes, life comes, you gain things, you lose things. Well, at this particular point, Naomi had lost things. She had lost her loved ones, her 3, her husband and her 2 sons. So there was some unimaginable pain there, and you may be facing some unimaginable pain today. I know I faced some that I thought I would never get over, but how about God is good, and I did get over it, and healing is real. Deliverance is the children's bread, and healing is part of deliverance as well. But moving forward, Naomi decides to return to her homeland. And upon returning to her homeland, her 2 daughter-in-laws start out on the journey with her. But one of her Naomi tells her daughter-in-laws, listen, you ladies are young enough to return to your homeland and find husbands, and I'm just going to go home to my homeland. Well, one daughter-in-law takes her up on that offer. She goes on her journey. The other one is Ruth. Ruth stays with her. And then Ruth vows. She said, your God will become my God. At that point, Ruth makes a commitment to serve the one God. So that told me that up until that point, though she was married to Naomi's son, she may have not converted to the one God. It also gave me a key factor that Ruth respected Naomi so much that she was willing to stay with her and change the direction of her life and start over in a foreign land, trusting the leadership of Naomi. Well, they get there, and Ruth needs to be able to provide for Naomi. And Ruth starts gleaning in the field. And some of you, what does gleaming mean? Ruth starts working. She starts doing what's necessary. And some of you right now are doing what's necessary. You're putting your family first. You're putting your children first. You're putting your church first. You're doing what's necessary to you. Well, having food to eat is a necessity, just like water, shelter, clothes. And yes, sometimes money is a necessity as well. Well, Ruth is in the field. She's gleaming. She doesn't necessarily know who this field is for. And she comes across the field of Boaz. And I'm going to start right there with how she comes across the field of Boaz. You know, I got to put these specs on. I can't really see. And it says, Ruth volunteers to glean the leftover grain from the fields of some kindly farmer, so she and Naomi have food to eat. They encounter circumstances as Ruth sets out to gather grain. And again, she's working. So you're going to need to be working in your purpose. You're going to need to be operating in what God has called you to do. And you may not always understand the purpose and the promise right now, but you're going to get there. And you got to be able to understand that sometimes, again, I said, your Boaz may not be in the ministry. Your Boaz may not look the way you thought he should look. But if your Boaz has the fruit of the Spirit inside of him, and he is filled of love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, generosity, self-control, and forbearance. Well, Ruth draws the attention. She comes into the attention, or she draws the attention of Boaz, who's a wealthy man. He arrives and inquires about Ruth. So while Ruth was working in her purpose and in her necessity, Boaz sees her. So your Boaz is probably looking right at you right now in your life, but you can't recognize him because you're too busy focused on the Yoaz. And what happens with that is that many women are focused on the Yoaz. It ain't just you. You know, he could smell good, he could look good, he could have the right type of car, he can have the right type of bank account, but he doesn't have the right commitment in his heart. He's not filled with the fruit of the Spirit. He's a taker. He's not a giver. He's not a provider. He wants you to take care of him. And a lot of times you get fooled because the anointing is attractive, so he looks good, but he's not good for you. And you know what? Later on in life, that Yoaz may be somebody's Boaz, but he's not yours. And again, Boaz had kindness for Ruth. So he asked about her. He talked to her. He invited her over or had conversation with her. And he didn't take advantage of her. And he made sure that his workers provided more for her. Ruth runs home just like you do. You run and tell your girlfriend, I think I met my Boaz. And your girlfriend begins to talk to you about it. And, you know, y'all can begin to compare notes. And if your girlfriend doesn't have an understanding what your Boaz is supposed to look like, she going to refer you back to the Yoaz because she ain't going to know the difference. However, that's why you need those type of women in your life. You need the Ruths, you need the Sarahs, you need the Naomis, you need the Esthers, you need the Deborahs in your life. Because if you constantly run around with the Atalias and the Jezebels and the Delilahs, you're going to end up with a Yoaz. Now, this wasn't something that Ruth knew how to do because Ruth was a foreigner. So she didn't understand the customs. And it may be foreign to you when your Boaz show up. You may not be accustomed to a man being kind to you, good to you, gentle to you, showing you affection without taking off your clothes. Because Boaz never undressed Ruth. He loved her. He cared for her. He was concerned about her well-being. This is the point in time when I say I met my Boaz, my beautiful current husband, who loved me enough to see past all that. And he met me on my job as well. And he wasn't interested in the flesh. He wanted to get to know the spirit of me, which he did. And he won my heart. And he won. He just won. And, you know, and you think people don't compete for you, but they do. And he just won. And that's my blue. That's my Boaz. But back to the story. Anyway, now, but Boaz was a man of valor as well. And Ruth needed to know the ways. So once they had a conversation and Boaz provided for her, she went on to tell Naomi who she had met and what was going on. And Naomi said, yeah, he's a relative of ours and he can marry you. Well, you'll probably have someone of a Naomi status in your life that can tell you, yeah, that's a good man. That's a Boaz. He can take care of you. He can provide the safety for you. You know, he can watch out for you. So at that point, what do you do next? Well, then with that being said, you need to know the customs. You need to know how to prepare yourself to be with that Boaz. So Naomi told her there's customary that how you present yourself as a potential spouse is that you lay at his feet. And she did that. Well, how are you preparing yourself for your Boaz? Are you preparing yourself spiritually and mentally and physically for him? Or are you so caught up on his Yoaz over here that you still just acting and doing the same things? Change has to come. And change begins with you. So Boaz wakes up, he finds Ruth at his feet, and he's startled, and he's like, hey, what's going on? And she was like, well, you the next in line of kin that you could take care of me. And he says, yeah, but there's a problem. See, your Boaz may not show up the way you think. He may have some things that he got to work out. There may be a small problem. But he'll be honest with you. He'll be honest with you and say, you know what? I got some things going on right now. Let me get back with you. Let me go handle something. Your Yoaz, on the other hand, especially if he, you know, super anointed. And hey, I love anointed. I'm married to an anointed man. But what I'm saying is, if he a Yoaz, he playing games. So now you and 5 other women perhaps got the same prophecy that this dude gonna be your husband. And it's not true. He can't marry all of you. However, he's willing to play the field with all of you because he enjoys the high of playing women. Well, real Boaz is not going to do that. He's going to go handle his business, and he's going to find out what he needs to do to win your heart and to win your hand in marriage. So Boaz goes off, and he gathers the men of the family, and he talks about it. And he tells Ruth straight up, if the closest kin won't marry you, then I will. Well, it turns out, make a long story short, the closest kin didn't marry her. Boaz ended up marrying her, and they end up becoming the great-grandparents of King David. But I'm saying to you, your Boaz probably sitting right in your life, or you probably can't recognize him. So I'm going to lead you back to the fruit of the Spirit. When you're looking for your Boaz, make sure that he has the fruit of the Spirit. Make sure he's a peaceful man, a man of valor, a man of integrity. Now listen, integrity. Integrity is not a weather coat that you take off and put on. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one's looking, and living the right way when no one's looking. Compromising is not going to get you your Boaz. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to lead you and constantly surround you with Yoazes. I'm just telling you the truth. Been there, done that in life. Take it from me. I'm telling you. Them Yoazes and them Boazes, they look a little similar, but that Yoaz ain't right. He not going to commit to you. But Boaz will. He'll provide safety and peace for you. He'll provide generosity for you. He'll provide kindness for you and affection for you. Joy. He'll provide those things for you. Shelter, food. Yeah, he'll provide those things for you. And he won't have a complaint about doing it. So in this season, be careful whom and what you're connecting to. Be careful if your flesh is leading you to a Yoaz, or if your spirit is leading you to a Boaz. Be encouraged, beloved. Shalom.